You're watching This Week in Jacksonville with Kent Justice.
And this week, Jacksonville City Council members approved a lease allowing the Museum of Science and History to build on the North Bank in the new museum district. These are some of the renderings of what the new building would look like. MOSH has operated at its current site on the South Bank since 1969, but management says the museum has outgrown that building. The vote was 15-1, with Councilwoman Leanna Cumber the lone no vote. She used the Georgia Aquarium as her example, saying that there's no taxpayer money that went into that development and upkeep of the museum. So I spoke with CEO Bruce Fafard from MOSH, who says his whole team is excited about what's ahead for MOSH and the community.
Elated. I mean, that's the first word that comes to my mind. We've been working on this for several years now, and just very excited for the support that we've received, both from the community, from the mayor's office, from several different departments within the city and the city council. So we're ready to go.
So MOSH, I mean, it's foundation of what has been on the South Bank, and here it is going across the river. Why was a new location so important to MOSH?
So we've been in the existing building since 1969. We're space constrained in that building. It really wasn't designed to be able to handle some of the exhibits that we're bringing in today and some of the exhibits we want to bring in tomorrow. So building from the ground up allows us to reimagine, allows us to bring in a lot more technology and interactivity. And that we can't do today in our existing facility.
21st century stuff versus what was in the 20th century when the first place was constructed.
That is correct. That is correct, Kent.
So what are some of the things that were important to this legislation going through? I know there's a 40-year lease deal. It's $1 a year. That's got to be helpful for what the museum's trying to do.
Yes, without question. It gives us access to 2.5 acres to build a new building. As you pointed out, it's a 40-year, $1 a year lease. But there's a couple other components to it that we're also very excited about. We've worked out an arrangement with the city where we're going to be able to design the entire area. So while 2.5 acres is what we'll build on, the balance is 4+ acres. That'll be a park space. And what we're going to do is we're going to design it such so that the entire park is sort of like integrated to what the building is, a science museum. We'll have science nodes scattered throughout the park area. It'll encompass the river walk. It'll have a science node in it, and it'll have areas of shade and grass where families can come enjoy the outdoors for the full day. And so it's just really an integrated site across everything.
So you just mentioned integrated site. So is there some collaboration with other folks who are going to be in this museum district here, the old shipyards area?
We're actually really excited to be in that area. You've got the Orlick right across the creek from us. You have the Fire Museum, but even beyond that, you've got the Jumbo Shrimp, you've got the Jags, you've got the arena, and we're talking to them about maybe doing a combined ticket where you can come to the museum in the morning, spend a half a day there, have lunch out on the lawn, and then maybe go take in a Jumbo Shrimp game.
So that's one of the things I hear city leaders talking about, developers all the time. Hey, we need to activate downtown in a way that brings more people there for life outside of, do I need just a job in a high-rise downtown or that kind of thing.
That is correct. And quite frankly, I think we're pushing the activation forward with the museum there and really integrating into everything else that's going on in that area. We're very, very excited. Actually, we're going to be sort of at the end, or depending on your perspective, the end or the beginning of the Emerald Trail. And so people are going to be able to bike there, they're going to be able to walk there. Just a fantastic location.
Bruce, what are the next steps? Obviously, you just mentioned, hey, it's years to get to this point. Now what's next, and how can people support that if they're interested in being donors or supporters of MOSH?
Sure. So the agreements require us to raise a minimum of $40 million in capital from private entities, whether it be a foundation, a corporation, an individual philanthropist. And so that's our focus right now, is to hit that $40 million mark. Through the pandemic and in the past several months, we've actually picked up a little speed on that. We've raised $16 million, so we're well on our way to hitting that number. The whole project, the building and the exhibits, is going to be approximately a $100 million project. So this is a major development effort for the museum and for the city of Jacksonville. And so that's what we're focused on now. We'll start schematic design early next year, move that into construction design, and then our goal is to break ground by the end of '24, occupy the museum in 2027. So it's just around the corner.
Yeah, those of us who are impatient say, oh, I've got to wait that long. But maybe final thing here, there was one city council member who didn't vote yes. It was nearly unanimous in city council. What's your response to the folks who say, well, should there really be a tax advantage or tax money that goes into this sort of thing, when this other example, Atlanta, said no, they didn't need the public to get involved like that?
Well, I definitely appreciate the comments and the feedback. We're open to any feedback. In fact, we're going to put the Coca-Cola Foundation on our list to reach out and see if we can.
They help out there in Atlanta, I would imagine.
Yes, they did, to see if they can help us out. But we're looking at a variety of different sources. We're looking at federal money, we're looking at state money, and at some point, yeah, we're going to be looking at city money as well. This is a community project. We've been in this community for 81 years, and my perspective is we serve the city of Jacksonville, we serve Duval County and the surrounding counties, and it really needs to be supported at that level.
And the agreement on the MOSH Genesis project means the museum must privately raise at least $40 million toward the overall cost. So far, that number is about $16 million. Several potential donors, though, have indicated that they've been waiting for a lease agreement before they make a donation. All right, just ahead, the founder of the Together Strong Fund in Jacksonville, David Miller, is going to talk about the effort to show the real city, to accentuate the positives, as you were. Stay with us on This Week in Jacksonville. We'll be right back.
You're watching This Week in Jacksonville on Channel 4.
And in this final segment today, David Miller joins us. David, the co-founder of Brightway Insurance, here today not to discuss property and casualty insurance, but a community effort around unity. I was really impressed by this. So you started the Together Strong Fund, community fund. Maybe explain why this is needed for the community and what it does.
Well, it's interesting. We saw at the Florida-Georgia weekend how a small group of individuals decided that they wanted to use Jacksonville for their own agenda. And myself and so many of other business owners and community trustees saw that and said, this isn't us. This is not Jacksonville. This is not the community we know and we understand. And so it was really at that time we decided that we've got to come together and we have to really say what we know Jacksonville is, and we need to have a more coordinated effort.
Because there was some sort of coordination on some of those hate messages that we saw back around then, right? So this is, hey, we're not going to let that be the story or the narrative. Is that accurate?
Yeah, and I'll tell you, it's really interesting how without them going and trying to use Jacksonville for their own special interests, we wouldn't have had what is now a $1.6 million war chest and a coalition made up of some of the largest and most respected companies, some of the most important not-for-profit institutions, and our local government, which has said, this is not who Jacksonville is. And no matter who's been running for office, we've had this really coordinated effort that is focusing on Jacksonville as the community we know it to be, and we're going to be focusing on the positives, not just people looking at the cup as half empty.
Right. So I want to show you some of this video here. There's an I Am Jacksonville campaign. So this commercial comes out, and I'm like, whoa! And so many people are saying, hey, what's this about? So tell us, what's the message here? I think it should be easy to see, but why is this important to what you're trying to accomplish?
Well, look, there's no question Jacksonville's greatest strength are our people. Our people are our strength, and our diversity is what strengthens us. If you look at any successful company, they want different perspectives in their boardroom, and our different perspectives of all the different people who make up our community. That's what makes us stronger. That is Jacksonville, and it's something that we don't need to run away from. We are going to focus on it. We are going to leverage our people. We're not going to hide from them.
So I'm curious, does this connect at all to what we've seen, I guess, in politics, where especially it seems like the last couple of cycles, it's been so negative, so divisive here in Jacksonville. Is this part of saying, hey, that's not who we are either?
Well, I think, look, when people run campaigns, there are tactics they use that they believe that are going to get them elected. And that's not always in lockstep with what leadership is, but it's tactical, and it certainly can be helpful some of the time. I think when we see, these kind of half-truth campaigns and things like that, it certainly doesn't inspire us. And what we're going to focus on is more of the things that do inspire us. It's, and that's where we're going to go with it.
So, David, who's involved now in supporting this? You referenced some of that earlier. And then what's ahead? Because just this one commercial for 30 seconds is not the end of what you're trying to do.
No, sure. Well, the coalition is great. Almost instantaneously from when we saw these hate pieces and I announced my initial $1 million contribution, we had Florida Blue, we had the Jacksonville Jaguars, CSX, ViStar Credit Union, Haskell,
I've
Deutsche
heard of most
Bank.
of these, right?
Yeah, you may have heard of one or two of them. They were all involved. Then the coalition, those are the people, some of the people, along with a lot of individuals who have donated money. The boots on the ground are some of our most impressive and important not-for-profit organizations. The Community Foundation of Northeast Florida, the United Way, the JU Public Policy Institute, OneJax, 90 Forward, all organizations that have deep and rich traditions, as well as the Jacksonville Jewish Federation, where the money is being housed in the foundation.
Is it something where people hearing this today say, ooh, I want to be part of that? What are they supposed to do now?
Well, you can go to imjacksonville.org. And
pretty easy to remember, right?
Pretty easy,
yeah.
And you will send you actually a button. But the key is what we're doing is we're gathering information of so many of the thousands of people who want to be a part of a positive Jacksonville. They want to be a part of this positive future. And there are all different ways that we're going to be doing different things. There are going to be different educational opportunities and interactive kind of opportunities. And our goal is to really focus on connectivity in our community. Jacksonville's a big place. We have a lot of square miles. And so being really intentional about the connectivity and how we bring people together in different ways, that's one of the positive things we can do.
So, David, I'm going to cut you off because I've got more questions and we're going to run out of time. So what I want you to know is we're going to offer you more from our interview here with David Miller. You join us on News4Jax Plus. It's available on Roku, Apple TV, Fire Stick, Android TV, Chromecast. You just search News4Jax on your streaming device. You can download it, and then once you're there, you'll find this interview.